Hello, welcome to my studio. Apologies for all the chaos with the internet. I just want to have a little chat before we do any painting. I just want to say, obviously, everything that goes wrong in this tech world is obviously nothing to do with us guys. We have things at this end are all set up. It's like a flight deck of a Boeing 747 here. So if we do ever get any tech issues, it's normally to do with the connection that's coming in. And basically, we had a problem at the end of the provider, which I was on the phone to for about an hour. I don't think I've ever been so stressed for a long time. So apologies for people that were waiting. This is probably my 20th 30th live stream that I've done over the past couple of months, and everything's been smooth as cream. One or two negative comments came through from people. All I'll say is, trying his best here, folks, to give these things to you for free and so you can enjoy them. So apologies to everybody that was unhappy with the broadcast. It wasn't anything I did personally. It was a few buttons were pressed somewhere in a control room, wherever that may be, and things started working. So I got here as quick as I could for you today. So hopefully you're going to stick with me and watch a little bit of watercolour painting happen of a spring woodland, okay? So again, thank you for watching, and forget about what happened in the past. We're here today to do a spring watercolour picture for you. Starting in a couple of minutes. I just want to show you this new painting, what I've just done actually. I've not actually shown this one on Facebook yet. It's a painting what I literally finished yesterday, so I'm just going to pop it on here actually, because I want to show you this. It's a painting of San Francisco, and it's the Golden Gate Bridge. So if you want to take a little look at that picture here, folks, you can see it there. And that's a painting that we've just done. I just literally finished it yesterday, so spent a couple of days working on that one. That will be a video available for everybody that's a member of Watercolour TV. So if you're a Watercolour TV member, you're going to get hold of that, okay? Very soon. Full detail. What do you think? All right. If anyone's got any questions they want to ask me about painting, just fire away. Let's pull that to one side. I am planning to do a special live stream next week on the artist demo page as well. So I've been doing free demos weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. This is my third one this week for people to enjoy. So here we go. Let's get some paint flowing, shall we? We're going to paint a bit of a Bluebell wood, a springtime scene today, folks. I've got a sheet of watercolour paper stuck to a board. This is going to be a nice, free and easy watercolour. No sketching, nothing like that is required. This is just literally straight in. I've got some masking tape here. Size-wise, I mean, this is about 1/4 imperial, which is about sort of 12 by 16 inch, give or take, all right? So let's pop some masking tape across. Let's remove the stickiness from the tape. There's plenty of moisture on my brow today. We're going to bring this coming down like so. It's going to drop down on a curve, and then it's going to change direction, and it's going to go up a little bit over on that side. So you've created this nice kind of dip effect going off here, and that's the starting point of this watercolour. We're going to paint a nice big background here, folks. We've got a big large brush here, a big large brush. A few people are just asking me some questions, so I want to try and answer questions on the fly. A few people asking, have I gone live? I just want to direct people, just bear with me 2 seconds, folks. Just want to direct people to the live feed. A few people not sure what's happening here, so let's have a little look. Bear with. If you can bear with me for an hour, folks, you can bear with me for a couple more minutes. A few people just asking how to get hold of the live feed, that's all. So I'm just gonna sort of direct over, if that's okay. And there we are. So this is broadcasting at the same time. It's actually broadcasting on YouTube. You can watch it back at any stage, this particular picture, folks, for those that wish. And I'll try and keep an eye on comments on both Facebook and YouTube as well. So yesterday we did a live demonstration on YouTube, which was all planned and everything. Everything was great. We broadcast the demo. It went out on time. Every single one's got just this one today. I know I should stop apologising, but I do feel bad after what's happened about this. I know it wasn't in my control, but it's not something. I don't like it when things happen like this. So sorry. So if you head over to my YouTube channel, for those that are watching this on Facebook, you can actually, it's just Matthew Palmer, so please do check that out. Okay, right, we are all ready. We've put this masking tape on here. We'll talk about the colours very quickly. I'm using my own brand of colours, and if you look here, we can see we've got the colours are Matthew Palmer branded colours. This particular one is natural blue here. If you look at these, it's part of the natural collection, so these are colours that are designed to replicate nature, all right? If you know what I mean. So the blue for the sky and so on. Now there's quite a few colours I want to talk about with this particular picture here. But what I will say to you is this, that you can do this painting. Let's get down to the palette for a second here. You can actually do this picture with just primary colours if you want to. Now primary colours, for those people that aren't sure, of course, are going to be these three. So you've got the red, the yellow and the blue. Now these particular three I've got here are natural blue, natural yellow light and natural red. But any three bright colours would work. So you might have, let's say for example, you might have French ultramarine blue possibly, or cobalt blue is a common one. You might have cadmium red, or you might have alizarin crimson or something like that, or cadmium yellow, or you know, just any three colours. You could do this picture with just the three, but I want to use a few more colours, and I'll mention how you can mix the colours if you need them. So basically what we've got here, we've got natural grey, which is a gorgeous shadow colour. This is squirted into the palette here. We've got natural blue, which is a lovely colour for the sky. There's two greens that I've designed, very popular greens, and these are all available online, folks. So if you head over to Watercolour TV, you can see them on there. So we've got natural green light here, and then this one we've actually got natural green. So there's two greens here, light one and a dark one. Yes, you can mix these from yellow and blue. Okay, so we'll sort of mention that as we go through. We've got the bright yellow that I mentioned. This particular one is natural yellow light. It could be cad yellow. Very important, get some violet. Get some kind of violet. This particular violet is actually natural violet, but it wouldn't matter if it was intense violet or something like that. Or ultramarine violet is another one, but some kind of violet is the best option. If you're using a different violet to natural violet, though, I would mix it with a little bit of blue to get a beautiful bluebell colour. Okay, and then I've got some natural brown here, which is similar to like burnt sienna and blue kind of colour, but some kind of brown. So that's the colours, okay, that we're going to be using on this particular painting here. We've got the water, we've got the brushes. We'll talk about the picture. Please watch this back. It'll stay on my Facebook page, Matthew Palmer Artist, and of course it'll stay on YouTube as well for those people that are watching it on there. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sticking around, folks. We've got about 100 people watching on YouTube and about 60 or 70 watching on Facebook, which is nice. So Facebook people, say hello to YouTube people. Let's come back to the picture. What we're going to do here is use a nice big brush, 20 brush. And we're going to wet the paper all the way down to the bottom. I'll keep an eye on the chat as well, in between sections, so any questions you've got, pop them in the chat. Now on Sunday, folks, this week, Sunday the 10th of May, I'm doing my 7th live broadcast, live watercolour workshop. Lots of people taking part in those workshops, and if you've taken part, can you please pop some positive chat in the comments for me, please. The one this week is a waterfall, so something to look forward to. That's on Sunday the 10th of May for the people that are watching, okay? So if you want to get yourself booked in, head over to allthews.watercolour.tv, okay? Now, let's just clear the palette, because my first colour is going to be some kind of a bright yellow, all right? So a nice vibrant yellow. And if we just sort of lift it and pop it in the palette for you so you can see. Fairly strong actually. Nice twist. Nice twist working his way around here. So a nice kind of splodge of colour. Literally this is a big brush. This particular one's a 20. Flat to the paper and twist. I mean, it really is as simple as that. Rich, heavy, vibrant watercolour. Taking it right across. Mixing this yellow. So if you're not using my colours, you could be using cadmium yellow, you could be using aureolin. Those kind of colours would work just as well as anything else. Okay, so a twist is what's happening here. Beautiful. That's the yellow. Clean brush. Take a little bit of blue. Natural blue is a good colour for the sky. I'll bring some blue into play. It's a nice clean blue, this one. And then that'll sort of work in this corner here. And then we're going to work this through. Now, over the top of this, we're going to be adding some more colours, okay? So, kind of bear with us, and that'll happen as we go through the picture. I'm also going to work some of this over the top of the yellow and get the colour mixing on the paper. It's making a bit of a mess, but that's all part of watercolour painting. So, twisting away. Twisting away. There we go. So it's all kind of blending in. All nice and soft and mixing together. Beautiful. Now let's take a look at some of the other colours that we've got here. We've got the greens. Now there's two greens here actually. There's light green and dark green. So I'm particularly using natural green. Now, we mentioned the two greens are designed to replicate nature. The darker one is probably better for this picture. We're going to work it in. See the nice kind of twist that's happening here? If you're mixing this from primary colours, mix a yellow and a blue, and then add a touch of red. Just a little bit of red. Just a little touch of red, okay? Just a slither of red. And again, folks, for the people that have just joined us, again, if you were waiting around to watch me on the artist demo day, this is my apology makeup video, because this was the picture I was going to do on there, but it didn't kind of happen due to unforeseen circumstances. And we all know about unforeseen circumstances at the minute, don't we? Okay, so that's what it was. And like I said at the beginning, there was a few negative comments coming from people. Apologies to those people that weren't too happy. You should have been sat in this room if you want to see someone not happy. And it was all down to internet connection, basically. It was a problem at their end. Our end, we've got the best possible broadcasting software and cameras and audio that you can have. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to one thing: what's happening somewhere else, okay? So a nice little twist. That's working nice. Happy with that. We've got the greens, we've got the yellow. It's all mixing together for this kind of springtime woodland, yeah? Is this working? Let's bring out. We talk about grey a lot, natural grey being the shadow colour. So here, this is the green. I'm now bringing in natural grey, which is a shadow colour, which you can see just here. Now, natural grey is a mixture of primary colours. It's the most common colour. Definitely the most popular colour that we actually have, okay? So this particular one is natural grey. Now, it's still twisting, and it's still mixing within the paper, because the paper's cotton. This is my own brand of paper, Matthew Palmer watercolour paper. So this is the cotton paper, okay, that's coming through here. So a nice kind of twist around, and then work this shadow to this, popping that brush away, and then moving on to a larger brush. This particular one here is you can probably just about make out the text on this if you can see it. This is natural hairbrush, and this brush is actually made from a nice strong hair Matthew Palmer tree and texture brush. This one is the extra large one, okay? Beautiful brush into the water, squeeze it through the fingers. Let's take a look at the palette, because it's exciting looking at the palette. Look at that. In there, squeeze it through the fingers. So it's basically damp. And I'm going to take some of the dark green, mix it with the light green. I'm going to mix the colours together and stipple. Get close into that so you can see what we're doing here. So we're basically mixing and stippling. So if you look at the brush, you can see it's got that nice kind of speckled sort of hair to it. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Let's come back up to the top here then, and we're going to use this brush. Let's get close in so you can see. We're going to use it for adding some foliage, little taps of the brush, okay? Remember, this is a mix of the two greens. If you're mixing your own colours here, what you'd do is you would be using more yellow than blue in the green, okay? That's basically all it needs to be. So you're stippling this thing through here and you're working it out, and you put little gentle taps, and with each tap of the brush it's giving individual sort of leaves of a tree, I suppose you could say. All the products are available at my website, folks, www.watercolour.tv. Watercolour.tv, that's where you want to be. Check it out. So a bit of a stipple here, working around. There you go. So after putting a very positive picture on Facebook this morning, it was a picture of London with the V-Day Union Jack at the back, and I spent a lot of time doing that. I thought we'll put something positive out because we're kind of, you know, in the VE Day celebration, the 75th anniversary, of course. And then after a positive start, everything went pear-shaped. I'm still apologising, I can't help it, sorry. I'm getting the grey down here. Now, if you've not got one of these brushes, by the way, you could actually use a sponge, a natural sponge. These brushes make it easy, of course, to do the design for the job, but a natural sponge will give you an effect similar. So nice kind of stipples around here, rich, heavy, strong mixtures, making sure it's very dark across the base. Very shortly we're going to put trees on, branches, trunks, that kind of thing. Hello to people on YouTube, got some nice questions coming through. Wonderful. Someone's asking how they can get hold of the workshop. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, folks, I want to pop the link how you can book the virtual watercolour workshop, and the same for those people that are watching on Facebook as well. So if you're interested in painting along with me in real time, folks, on the virtual workshops, these are lovely things. If anybody's done one of these virtual workshops, please do pop something in the comments for me. Let people see. And it's a waterfall scene that we're doing on Sunday. We've got a couple of spaces left if anyone's interested. Head over to the website for that. That's the trees, folks. Works for me. Let's pop that brush to one side. Let's grab a plastic card. I've got a plastic card here. There it is. We've got the plastic card, and I'm going to use this for actually scraping the trees out. So let's have a little look down here. We're going to take this corner. I'm going to put lots of pressure on, and we're going to scrape it up, easing off the pressure, so it really trees, and you can see that wonderful effect, can't you? Now I can do as many, put lots of pressure at the bottom, really sort of force it on and then gradually ease it off. Now if you're doing this and it's not working, it's probably because your paper's too damp, or too dry, of course. That's another problem you're going to get. But you can put these nice branches on and you can literally just finely scrape the colour off. I always think silver birch trees when I do this. It just pops in my mind, that beautiful effect of foliage and trees. Over this side here, we can pop a little bit more weight on the brush. And we can scrape off some smaller versions. It's all to do with timing. If it's too dry, it doesn't work very well. It's getting the timing right here, folks. That's the big kind of secret. Loving the mist in the middle, by the way, there. So nice fine scrapes. Doing these trees. Trying to be relatively calm when I put these on as well, okay? Excellent. So if we come back a little click, we can see what we've actually got there. We've got that nice kind of sort of woodland effect starting to do its, popping a few little sort of branches and things around, which is always good fun. Excellent. It's quite addictive doing this. There we go. Now at this particular stage I want to pick up one of the smaller versions. A slightly larger version of the same brush, and we're going to start to add some detail to the bottom of the trees and really get some nice kind of darkness coming through. So it's all about I'm still here, just answering a couple of questions that have come through. Yeah, we sort of lost a bit of connection then, folks, but we're back again. We're back again. Am I there? Can you see me? Anyways, I've kind of paused there, and I'm using these kind of smaller brushes. So I'm just going to be using the large version. So if you compare this particular one to the one we did for the background, we've got this kind of large tree brush. So I'm going to clean it, squeeze it through the fingers. Now, what I want to do here is I want to mix up natural grey. Remember, this is the rich, strong colour with green. Somebody's asked me, how can you mix the grey up? You can mix grey from primary colours. So it's basically, it's a huge chunk of blue with a little tiny bit of red, so you get a slight purple, and then pop the yellow with it. Ideally, it's better to use the grey because it's ready-made, because if you put too much yellow in or things like that, you can lose a little bit of colour, and you end up with browns and various other colours if you're not careful. So that's something to kind of watch out for. Okay, so this brush on the tissue first. Basically, I'm going to go dark, so I'm popping some darkness around here. Gentle taps, working down, and then over the opposite side, a similar idea. So again, folks, thank you for sticking with me through today, because it's been a bit of a stressful one. There we go. I will show you the picture what I did actually, the VE Day picture, in a second. Clean my brush, wipe it almost dry, and then I can use this brush just to lightly tap the top of these, so it kind of blends them in. Beautiful. So that's a nice rich bit of strength at the bottom, easing it off so it fades in. That's quite important there. And then we can zoom back a little bit, and we can actually take off the masking tape. Now, the best way to do that is steady, of course. Always do it nice and carefully. So a very gentle peel, pull it down away from the trees, leaving that nice rich kind of crisp edge of trees, massive trees. Down here we're going to be talking bluebells, purples, violets, that kind of colour. Okay, this was the painting that I did here, which we can see this was kind of done to, it's like a bit of a sort of duotone kind of picture. You got the monochrome Parliament here, and then you got that there. But if you head on over to my Facebook page, you can actually see a version of this with the VE Day sort of logo at the back that's been put on. It's been sort of repainted. So my Facebook page, Matthew Palmer Artist. Please make sure you head over and have a little look. That'd be wonderful. It really would. Okay, so yes, let's come back here. Someone's asking me about the live workshops. Okay, well here's the last 3 weeks paintings that have been done on these virtual painting workshops. This is just while this is having a few seconds to dry, folks. Here we've got the Paris sunrise over Paris. This was done last Sunday, the 3rd of May. Lots of people were taking part of this workshop. It's all broken down. Today's very much a demonstration, me painting with you. This is very much something that you can sort of paint along with. 3 colours, just using primary colours, 3 brushes and a sheet of standard size watercolour paper. Details on the website, okay? This was from a few weeks ago. This was the summer cottage with the beautiful flowers in the foreground. Thoroughly enjoyed doing that one. And then a couple of weeks back, looking at Venice in watercolours again. That was done on the virtual workshop. So if you're interested in the one that's on this Sunday, head on over to watercolour.tv. Link is in the comments for those people that are watching the chat. Let's take a look at the bottom part of the picture now. Let's paint in some bluebells. Dry enough to do this, folks. What I want to do here is use the big brush, and let's get the palette in view for a second here. So I'm kind of cleaning the brush out. So I want a couple of colours hanging around for this. All right, first of all, some kind of a fresh green. So I'm going to mix up the yellow, a bright yellow, natural yellow, green, natural, it's been a long day, natural green, light, with a tiny bit of the dark, but not too much dark to green. Okay, now if you're mixing this yourself, just more yellow, keep it simple. Yeah, clean brush. Then what we'll do is here, this beautiful colour here, this one is natural violet, which is a lovely colour for bluebells. It's designed for 2 reasons, bluebells and winter scenes. Get it in tube. You could use any violet in theory. What I'd suggest you do though, if you're using any other violet, is pop some blue with it, because violet is a little bit too purple, so adding a little tiny bit of blue to the mix seems to work better. Okay, so that beautiful colour you can see there is natural violet. Okay, and that's my first colour that's going to go on actually. So that's going to go right in this foreground here. Got that big bold block of colour right across the foreground, and then going to be quite patchy in places. Pop a few little bits. It's quite a strong colour, to be honest. I mean, don't be afraid to use the colour quite heavy. Pop a few bits like that. Then what we'll do is we'll clean the brush thoroughly. On the tissue, and then we'll take that green that we've just mixed. Remember, that's mainly the light green, or it's just a yellow and a blue, and then I'm popping some of this in some of these gaps. Okay, so I'm popping this in the gaps down here, up there, and in the little gap just there. Okay, that's my green. Clean brush. This is the big brush. This one's a 20 through the fingers, so I'm squeezing it through the fingers, and I want to basically waft and blend and scrub. So I'm basically scrubbing this all together, so it's all nicely blending in and it's mixing on the paper, so it's all smoothing out. That's the idea. Bring the green into play. Make sure it all nicely works in. I did do a Bluebell wood on the live workshop a few weeks back. Gorgeous. Okay, so that's all kind of softening in. It's a start. Clean brush again. Now at this point, at this particular point, I'm taking quite a strong violet, so very thick with the paint, like almost pure paint here. Okay, that's going to go right in this corner. I mean, really quite bold colour. Don't be afraid to add it quite rich as well, and then just kind of work it back. You could actually do it in a bit of a stripe fashion, so if you put some stripes in like this, you can almost create the impression of sort of shadows coming through. Rich, powerful, bold watercolour. Okay, that's the secret. Excellent, that's good. Loving the colours, folks. We've got this starting point of the woodland there. Beautiful. Now what I want to do here is take the plastic card again. There's the plastic card. I'm going to use this to add a bit of shape to this area. Okay, so a plastic card again. Obviously we used the plastic card earlier, using it again, and we can decide where the footpath is, and I think it's kind of it's in the dip. So if I go there and scrape back literally flat to the paper, and I can keep sort of doing this, it's only a gentle pressure. I can do some here as well. Look, it's going to give some layers and shape to this area down over there as well, and it's quite an effective way of working it. I'll pop a little bit over there as well actually, so a few little sort of scrapes and scratches around is what's of interest. Scraping away. There we go, and it's given me a little bit of form, which I'm going to work into. Make a bit of a footpath, put some trees on. That's the gist. Okay, how are we doing, folks? Any questions? Anyone got any questions for me? How are we doing? Someone's telling me I've still got technical issues. We've got a healthy stream. We've got a healthy stream at this end, so if anything goes off, it's probably, we've got a 7 megabits per second stream at the minute, so I think we're okay. Irene is talking about natural yellow not going green. There's two yellows. There's natural green and natural green light. This one is natural green, but natural green, the normal one, the sandstone or baby poo as it's sometimes called, that one doesn't go green. Yes, so a couple of YouTube questions coming in. asking about how to purchase materials. Okay, well that's easy enough. If I just pop in a link in the comments for the art shop, that's on YouTube. There it is. And we can do the same on Facebook. So if anyone's interested in any of the products, the brushes, the supplies, that kind of thing. It's nice to see a few names I recognise coming through. So hello to Sharon. Hello to Sharon Young. Sharon's working for the NHS. She's doing essential work. Well done. Hello to Jackie Bosworth. Used to go on the painting holidays. Hello to you. Jan. Hello to Jan. Hello to Kim. Hello to Carol. Carol Barnard. Hello, Carol. So this thing's pretty much it's starting to dry. What I want to do, folks, just for a few seconds, is give this a blast with a dryer. While that's drying off, you can entertain yourself by looking at a tit on a tap. There we go. There's a tit on a tap, followed by a stag next to it. If you got bored with that, you can look at a steam train. This particular one is the Flying Scotsman. There it is, in all its glory. And for those people that have just joined us, this is my latest picture, which is the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Soon to be a lesson on Watercolour TV, so if anybody's a member of Watercolour TV, you're going to get a full step-by-step of that one very soon. Excellent, folks. Love that picture. Literally finished it yesterday. It's that precise you can even see the cars on the bridge. Not really. Anyway, the picture's dry, folks. Using a hairdryer. Can't go wrong, can you? Let's come back to the picture here. I'm going to work on the footpath now, so we're going to put some shape into here, then we're going to work detail into this thing as well, okay? So at this particular stage, using a size 10 brush. Together, some natural brown. We've not used it yet, so natural brown mixed with grey. Natural brown and natural grey, okay? These two colours going together, so quite a strong colour here, you can see that for yourself. I'm going to use this in a few areas. We're going to put a footpath, we're going to put some tall trees on this picture as well. We're going to make this thing quite detailed. So a bit of a random footpath kind of coming through the woods. That's the gist of this, alright? That's the crack. So basically I'm just going to sort of sweep this around the corner. Again, it's a bit of a size 10 brush I'm using here. And I'm working in between these plastic card scrapes. So weaving along here, bring it across. And then use this, which we are giving away for the most creative comment. On the tissue, and then just smooth it over to one side. So it's basically blending the colour, moving it over. And then I can use this brush as well to lightly drag some of those corners slightly back into the Bluebell edge, because it wouldn't be as clean as that obviously, but what's important is how it fades off around the bend. I feel like I've been around the bend today with this streaming business. Now I'm over here we're going to do a similar thing, weaving in, take it right in, and then we're going to come down here. So a nice rich colour, clean brush on the tissue, and then we're going to smooth this thing over again. And then also we're going to fade it up into the little peaks so it kind of disappears off. So we've created a footpath with a little hint of perspective, which is really nice. Also just going to bring in a few extra little bits of detail into this. So let's get nice and close in to this area here. We're going to paint in some nice tall trees. This colour, so I'm using natural grey, natural brown, and burnt umber or burnt sienna would work just as well. So a good kind of dark colour. I want to put some trees in. Now I'm thinking probably here. I'm going to go straight in for this tree. Not being afraid of the dark stuff here. That goes in. Notice I've made it wider at the base, that's important. Nice wide base to those trees. Just going to turn this on the side for a second here so I can get a brush. Got some little sort of ins and outs coming through. Nice. Okay, now I'm going to use that same brush to pop in some branches coming off. Now highlights will be added to this a little bit later, so just bear that in mind. So these are going to go in quite strong, working through. Turn this on the side again, we can see what we've got there. That lovely tree works. Let's get a nice branch coming up here. Taper that off as it goes towards the top, yeah? We'll put detail work in this as it starts to dry, okay? It'll grow on you. Wonderful. Okay, now I was going to pop in a smaller tree just here at the back. Slimmer. Again, rotate it if I need. Makes quite a difference rotating. Light will be added to this later, so don't worry about it, folks. It'll all become clear. Someone will turn the lights on these trees. Work it up. A nice taper. There we go. Beautiful. So we can see we're starting to branch out a little bit here, aren't we? Did you like that? Now I'm just going to add some detail to those trees. And for this, we've got some rather nice little tools that we can use. First of all, we're going to stick with a number 6 brush. I'm going to use a number 6 brush to paint in some nice sort of small, medium to small to almost towards fine branches here. Look, and we're going to work these in. Popping the branches on. Bring these up. It's surprising what you can do with a nice detailed number 6 brush, to be honest. I'm going to pop in a few bits at the back as well here. Just a few. Again, turn that on the side. Let's get the camera on. Again, bringing the branches coming up. Now eventually we're going to change brushes again. It's also important at this particular stage, I think, to use a bit of darkness. So I'm actually going to pop a little bit of card on here. I know you're seeing this on the side here. I want to sort of brush up some darkness. So basically using dry brush here, look. So I'm kind of brushing up, brushing away in this bluebell wood. And of course, bluebells are out at the minute. Took some lovely photographs a couple of weeks ago in a local bluebell wood. Nice. Just over here as well. So I want to pop all the detail on this side of the picture. That'll really work nice. Nice bit of texture. Now, while I'm on this angle here, we've got these beautiful things. These are the branch and detail brushes. There's two sizes. Again, you can check them out online, folks. Watercolour TV. For those people that's interested in those. Just having a look at some of the comments, folks. If anyone's got any questions, thank you for sticking around on Facebook. I know it's been a traumatic day for you with all the problems we've had this morning. Okay, so we've got large and small. I want to use the large branch and detail brush here. I'm going to use this brush with that same colour. And what's great about this brush is it kind of loads up the reservoir. So this is nice and full. It's nice and full, and it kind of feeds the tip. So what it means is that you can literally just keep going, and you can keep painting all these nice fine branches, as many or as few as you like. So I can keep adding the nice little twigs and branches. Weaving through. I'm just going to turn this on back on its right side here. There we go. And I'm going to pop some more branches in here. These things can come right over. Overlapping the sky. In the background we've got a few hanging around as well. So big advantage of this is you don't have to keep reloading your brush every few minutes. That's basically what it's designed for doing all these lovely fine little bits of detail that you get in your paintings. There we go. And then on the opposite side, if we zoom out a little bit there, come back to here. Let's look at the whole picture for a minute, shall we? So this is balancing lovely with the footpath. Over this side, we're going to bring in a few branches coming in down here, like that. And we can get these sort of dropping down. Put as many or as few on as you like. So I've not really had to reload this brush, I don't think. I think I'm still pretty much going on the first load, as it were. And that's what it's all about, yeah? Because it just keeps adding more and more colour to it. There we go. Just going to pop a few of these little flicks over this side, nothing major over there, just a few little random sort of branches going up, to be honest. Kind of out of focus, and I'm actually going to use that same brush just to tickle the edge of the foot a little bit crisper in places, here and there, making that nice. The contrast between the rich browns and the violets are working well, hopefully, you agree, and it makes quite a difference. How's it looking, folks? Is it looking alright? Is it starting to grow on you? This is my fourth live stream this week. So we've been quite busy, and we've got a workshop on Sunday as well, virtual workshop, which I'm sure lots of you are coming along to. So I look forward to welcoming you to the waterfall landscape that we're doing on Sunday. People often ask me what happens if you can't tune in and do the workshop live at the point of it happening. Well, that's the big advantage of these live workshops. You don't have to worry about it. You can basically just kind of, sort of whenever you like, really. I'm going to dilute the colour. I'm going to dilute the colour massively. This is the brown and the grey. So we've got a very pale version of the same. Wiping it off on the side of the palette. A couple of taps on some tissue would be quite nice, and then I'm basically going to pop in a few a few lighter ones. I like to do this, and I'll tell you my reasons. If I zoom in close, you'll see what I mean. It kind of gives the sense of depth to the tree, okay? So it lets you add these sort of lighter versions of branches, and they almost look a little bit kind of further away. So you can see those little sort of lighter versions. It just gives interesting depth to the picture, which is quite important in my opinion. Add a few more if I need to as well. Coming down. Very diluted version of the same colour. It's also nice to get those fine wispy ones on the end with that light colour as well. You can see it puts a nice bit of interest into your trees, into your branches. Okay, now that's looking good. Now what I want to do, folks, is pop some shadows on this thing. So we're going to pop a few shadows in as well. So making sure that everything's got a nice balance, which I think we're probably okay there. Just before I do pop any shadows and any little bits of detail, then I'm going to use some natural grey on its own with the brush, very thick with the colour, nice strong colour. Wipe it off on the side again, that always makes sense. Let's get close into the centre. Let's pop some scale to this picture, around about here somewhere. So I'm actually going to paint in a nice sort of rustic old farm gate, the old 5-bar kind of gate sort of situation here. So this is using the grey on its own. And we can sort of taper that off so it disappears at the back of the hill. And the same here as well. So just sort of created a bit of distance, like a little bit of a curve or something. I will pop some shadows on. It's nice to see that. If you look close on that, there's a little bird sat on the top of the gate. You see it? It's a chuff. It's a bearded chuff. So if you've been sticking with me today through the traumatic chaos of having connection problems and technical issues and all that business, this is actually my second demo actually. So my first one was over on the artist demo area, and it was like a sort of very quick version of the Bluebell wood, and then there's this one here which is kind of what I had planned throughout the day. So thank you to everybody that's stuck with us. Let's pop in some little bits of railings and little bits of wires and random things coming through here. It all helps. I shall pop some shadows on this thing in a second as well. I guess the light's kind of coming more from the sort of back, I suppose, in a way. So I'm just going to pop in some little shadows sort of casting across here. I want to pop some more shadows in this thing as well shortly, so bear with us on the shadow situation. There we go. I'm just sort of tickling around. It's quite addictive, these brushes. That's what people seem to get on with them. I'm going to use a bit of natural green. This is the darker green. There you go. This is natural green here. Size 6 brush. When we go in, I'm going to pop in some shadow, because and here as well, where the kind of footpath separates. Clean the brush, couple of taps on the tissue, and then we're going to soften in. Softening those shadows, which makes quite a difference. Okay, so if I take some grey mixed with violet, there it is. Not too strong. Zoom out a step. Take a look at the whole thing. There you go. We're going to put a lot of life into that tree before we finish, don't you worry. We get in there, folks. Stick with us to the end. It's nice to see people coming through on YouTube and Facebook. This is a quite an important moment here for us, because this is my first joint stream between YouTube and Facebook, and actually Vimeo if anyone's on Vimeo. So this is my first kind of joint stream. So hopefully it's kind of going okay. And hopefully you're enjoying it. Is it better than watching the news? Probably. Let's pop some shadows in this thing, okay? So a nice big bold shadow, and honestly, don't be afraid of putting these in. Be terrified. Bring them coming down here. Put some branches coming off from the side of these things. Let it all just branch out down here as well. Look, comes at the back there. That one sort of spreads down here. Spread the trees out into the picture. Pop some shadows coming from the back as well, making sure that's got that slight curve to it. Always makes a difference when you put shadows in, I always think. I'm sure you agree. And of course you could pop as many random shadows. I mean, it's probably a tree over here somewhere that you can't really see, so you can pop as many shadows as you like. Of course you can. Stick them in, you can't go wrong. Dappled shadows always look lovely on a watercolour picture, of course they do. You can pop a few going across the footpath as well, little random lines here and there, and maybe a little bit of a shadow just coming down here as well would be quite effective. Okay, let's take a look at the tree now. Let's take a look at this thing, folks. This here, this is the wonderful, marvellous, magical Matthew Palmer lift out brush, which is designed for lifting out highlights. Now this thing works a treat. This thing works a treat on trees, and it just puts light into a watercolour picture. We're going to put light in. You need a bit of dryish tissue. We've got a bit there, look, that'll do. Kitchen paper. Clean it. Again, all available online, folks. www. That was a technical glitch. Watercolour.tv. Did you get that? If you're new to my YouTube channel, we're doing weekly live streams on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you're new to my Facebook, please do hit the like button. Doing lots of stuff on Facebook and YouTube. And I've probably mentioned this before, but we had a little bit of a technical glitch this afternoon. First time ever. First time for everything. What we're going to do is we're going to go in. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And we're going to wash off colour. And we're really going to take paint out, and we're going to turn this tree into a three-dimensional object. Okay, now taking the tissue, wiping off the colour, you can see it comes off there. Now you can take it off a couple of times if you need to. I want to get close into this so we can see what's happening here, because at this little stage these highlights are quite a unique thing to me. You don't really see much lift out, and I've got this physical lift out brush here, which of course makes the process even easier. Nice dabs, nice wipes, and if you go over it again, it comes off a second time, so it comes off twice, three times, whatever. Works really well. So really taking time and really taking the paint off. Can you see what it's doing? It's actually removing colour, which is a wonderful thing to actually see. Especially where it overlaps that dark tree. There you go, you can see it's kind of taking the paint out. Is that making sense, folks, what we're doing here? Can you see the life that it's bringing? You can make a tree look three-dimensional. For example, if I want to make this branch look as though it's coming out from the centre of the tree, I can wash it off and bring it into the centre. This one here, if I want to make it look as though it's on the other side, I can lighten the trunk that runs past it, and it all makes a difference. A few highlights always will do in a picture. So actually washing paint out rather than putting it in is quite a nice thing to do. And it's also quite addictive as well, to be honest. if we do a little bit of a pan down the tree, you can see those twists and gnarls that are taking place. Similar thing on the other tree as well. Just a few highlights on that tree there. Good firm tap, tap, tap away. You could even use this in the background as well. If you want to pop some extra light in some of the background trees, you can just pop some highlights in. Of course you can, quite easily. And then you can just take a bit of tissue and wipe it up like that. So it's put little bits of light in there as well. Again, adding to the picture. If you've got any areas where the background disappears into the trees, I'm thinking sort of here, then working next door to those lovely shadows that we put in, I could actually wash off a little bit of paint there and wipe the colour a touch as well. Same as in the footpath area as well. Coming back to this area here, I could pop in a few little, you know, even the impression of like a bit of a puddle or something. So if I wash off, really scrub out some, you know, I get the farmer kind of whizzing through, tyre tracks kind of situation. Give it a good press. Pop some highlights. We can support that in a second if we want to. And take that around the corner as well. So just little teeny weeny little bits of highlight is actually quite effective in these trees and places. Nice and close to the footpath. Take some grey, pop it on the edge of the footpath, just to give a bit of character. And if you want to get a bit of a tyre track style thing going off, you could pop in the other side in dark. I think it was a drunken tractor driver. Take it around the corner, but it just gives a bit of interest, don't it, if you do that sort of thing. It just makes it look as though there's a couple of little puddles and sort of things there. These little bits make the picture more interesting, and if you want to make that look as though it's slightly reflected, you could do that as well with some grey, strong grey at this point, through the tissue, and you could pop some little sort of downward lines inside. Can you see that? Little sort of downward streaks of your brush. Just helps to give a reflective effect. It's not essential that you do that, but I think it's one of those nice things that you could possibly think about doing. Let's come back to this really big brush, the extra large one that we started with, the tree and texture brush. Squeeze it through the fingers. Let's take a look at the foliage at the top here. Let's take a look at the whole picture while we get this thing prepped. We're going to mix some yellow and the blue to get the nice bright green, or use natural green, the light one. Tiny bit of water and stipple the brush. So this is quite a light green, and I want to use this to stipple some leaf over the top of the trees. Let's get close into this. So I've got that nice spiky brush and I'm popping some leaf in over the top of the tree. Now this is natural green light for those that are using yellow, then red, then blue, sorry, is the colour. There you go. So that puts that little bit of extra leaf on. Close in you can see what we've done. I want to take a bit of dark green and mix that over the top, or just put more blue if you're using your own colours. Give it a stipple, okay? And I'm going to pop some darkness in, put some darker bits on, extra little bits of leaf. And I always, if you grab a 6 brush and just pop in a few individual leaves on the picture as well. So some individual little taps of the brush. just to give a few slightly larger leaves basically. So just nice little simple individual taps of the brush, just working around randomly, as many or as few as you like, of course, it's up to you. And I'm just going to finish off with some white paint actually. So I've got some natural white here, natural white, or you could use gouache, So I'll show you what I'm going to do with the white. I'm going to put some nice bright foreground flowers into this thing. That's Sandra. Sandra's going to buy me a beer. She's going to drop me a 6-pack off on the doorstep. Let's have a look down here. I want to clean the brush. This is the same brush, by the way. I'm going to take some of that violet. Some of the violet. This is the white here, fresh from the tube. I'm going to mix it with some violet and stipple it. Put as much or as little violet as you like. But those little white highlights that you can see here, look. See, there's a nice, gorgeous individual prongs of the brush. Just some very gentle little taps around here. Puts a bit of light around. Too much violet in the paint will disappear, so you just want to watch out for how much you put in. But just some nice light, always a nice little finishing touch on a picture like this. Pop some little stipples in. And if you want to put some over the footpath, of course, at the same time, sort of down here, you could pop some little bits that kind of go over the edge along here, look, in the corner. Very gentle taps of your brush. Do a few gentle taps further back. Clean that brush really well. My water's turned to a nice milky green, which is what it does, of course. If I take a little bit of violet on that brush now, I'm just going to pop in some violet stipples. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just using natural violet, nice and rich for the violet. Mix it in. Same brush, extra large tree brush. A few stipples around. Both sides. Say that painting is a good way to relax and chill out. Well, while I've been doing this, I have chilled out, so that's great. That's what it's all about. Let's take a look at the footpath, folks. I'm going to use a craft knife. Got quite a sharp one here. I'm going to scrape off some little light on this puddle. Those tyre tracks, and can you see that you can sort of take it around the corner at the same time? So you can imagine that's where the tracks has left the indentation. You get that wonderful centre reflection. Of course, you could use the craft knife just to sort of scrape off little bits on the edge as well to give it a bit more texture. Not quite as obvious, and you know, little bits of extra little flicks around the scene, around the base of the trees, and extra little white flowers and just random bits of texture. But look how effective that footpath came out there, you know, just making all the difference. Of course, you could, if you liked, scrape off a little bit of light on one side of those fence posts as well, just to give a little bit of, like, it's catching a bit of light from somewhere. Love how that goes around the corner, folks. So that's quite a useful thing to think about doing. Another one that I often mention to people to finish off is sandpaper. Sandpaper is good on tree trunks. Let's get close into the trees here. If you fold sandpaper in half a few times, you get that kind of beveled piece, and you can sand off a little bit of colour. Puts like a texture on. Bit of old bark, you know. So basically, sanding away. You can do it in the base of the trees as well. So right at the bottom of the trees, where it sits on the picture, you can pop some little bits there. bit of interest to it, don't it? Makes for quite a detailed picture. Now I'm going to take the masking tape off and I'll show you the painting, folks, okay? So I'm just going to peel this thing away because it's nice to see a crisp edge. I'll zoom out in a sec. What a day it's been for me, folks, at this end. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for sticking with me. Do please continue to stick with us through this interesting time. Don't forget we've got some wonderful live painting workshops coming up with you on weekends. There's one this Sunday the 10th. A few spaces left. Let's take a look back. We can see that gorgeous Bluebell woodland. And that was the painting I planned to paint with you today at 2 o'clock. But obviously things went a little bit wrong. But here we are doing it on YouTube and on Facebook at the same time. I'm sure that some of you gave up and disappeared. Obviously you're not watching if you did that. But of course you can watch these things back again and again. So that's a spring woodland watercolour, folks, bluebells and all that business. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you. Keep well. Please keep the nice comments flowing. Check out my YouTube channel, Matthew Palmer. Hit subscribe for more live demos. The workshop on Sunday, watercolour.tv is the place to book it if you're interested. We do have a few spaces left. All the products are available on www.watercolour.tv. Facebook, Matthew Palmer Artist, hit like. I'll see you soon for more watercolour painting. I'm going to go enjoy VE Day with my family now and have a beer. See you soon.